All right, good Saturday morning, everyone. Gonna get in another shave. This time we're going with Catie's Bubbles. We're gonna be using some Porch drinks. Now this one was a collaboration with Carnivus and Richardson. And to be very honest, I don't know who they are. But I know Catie's Bubbles, and Catie's Bubbles is fantastic. So here we are, Porch drinks. This is one that's been out for a while, but I think it kind of comes and goes as far as availability goes. Now, does this say anywhere on here? There it is. Luxury cream soap. So that's what we're going with today. Cream. It is somewhat firm as far as creams go. I was imagining it a little bit more pliable, I suppose. But it is a cream, nevertheless. So, got some in the Lancaster bowl here. I'm going to be using my Lutin Brushworks brush. This one was a custom. He had never done custom. He'd never done a 3-piece custom, I should say. I asked him if he could put bloodwood on the top and on the bottom, and just like a dark walnut in the middle, black walnut. So he did that for me. Kind of has that nice burn marks throughout. Real cool. And it's just got a nice little badger knot on top. I got the matching aftershave splash. He had to switch the label and kind of rename it because I think Carnivus and Richardson actually owns the scent. So the reproduction had to be renamed and relabeled. But I don't think there's any issue between the two. I think Catie's Bubbles was allowed to continue using it. So his version is called Dranks. And it's kind of in that little fancy script, but it's called Dranks. So, as far as drinks go today, I got a pint of water with what they call liquid IV. Since I had some drinks last night. And it's basically just like a bunch of electrolytes and shit to kind of help your body bounce back from dehydration. So, it doesn't taste very good. It says it's passion fruit, but it tastes like shit, so. That's that. When you get good at drinking, you also get good at bouncing back from drinking. So that's one of my cheat codes. I'm gonna be using my straight today with the Osiris scales and the Kukri 11/16 square point blade. And let's get to going here. So Saturday morning, don't have a whole hell of a lot planned until this evening. I think me and Jack are gonna try to go live on Instagram this evening, probably around 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only because we tried going live yesterday after Yost and Catie also attempted. So they were going to go live at 7 p.m. and we were going to go right after their stream finished, 8 p.m. And Instagram was throwing a fit last night. So nobody could really do anything. I hopped on and did a solo live and just kind of shoot the shit with my viewers. But we couldn't get a dual live going with me and Jack. And neither could Yost and Catie. So I'm pretty sure everybody's going to try again tonight and see what we can do for you guys. But we'll see how that goes, you know. Instagram might not have its shit together yet. So we're just going to have to wait and see. It seems pretty stable at this point. I was on a little bit this morning. But who knows if it'll do Instagram live, a dual live. Who knows. Alright, so we got some nice looking suds going. Might need to add a little bit more water. I'm not familiar with the Catie's Bubbles luxury cream base. So here's a first impressions of that, I suppose. Get some warm water on the skin. I didn't shower before this morning shave, so I usually do, but I didn't this time around. Back. All right. So I haven't talked too much about the scent on this one. The scent notes are coffee, cardamom, tobacco, blood orange, and bourbon. And to my nose, the coffee and cardamom are up front, and they kind of play equal parts. It has a nice scent strength, probably a 6 out of 10. Above medium, for sure. I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of water. Maybe a little bit more. But I feel like the tobacco, blood orange, and bourbon, at least on the soap side, they kind of take a background, more of a supporting notes rather than, in the forefront. And this kind of leads me to a discussion of soap scents versus kind of like aftershaves and EDPs and whatnot, EDTs and EDPs. So when you're breaking down a fragrance and you're basing it off of the soaps, in my experience, kind of have two phases. They have a pre-lathered, just smelling it off the tub phase, and then they have a once lathered and kind of, a more woken up phase of the fragrance. So a pre-lathered and a post-lathered scent. A lot of times the post-lather scent really gives you more insight to what the fragrance is all about. But there's always going to be a bit of the soap's ingredients kind of interfering with the fragrance. So, I was kind of thinking, when it comes to aftershaves, there's sort of an initial scent, and then there's the dry down. So when you first apply it to your skin, there's that, and then there's the dry down. But aftershaves also have other skin food ingredients and whatnot that might have a slight interference with what the true fragrance is supposed to be. So when it comes to colognes and perfumes, that is the truest interpretation, because the only other ingredient most of the time is just alcohol. So that's the truest form. And with those, there's an initial scent, and then there's a dry down scent. So I think a lot of times when we're giving impressions on soaps, and then we say, Yeah, the aftershave, it doesn't exactly smell the same, but it's complementary. It's probably just because the soap has its own set of ingredients in it, because obviously they put the same exact fragrance oils in the soap and in the aftershave. They don't put different blends of oils when they're trying to create the same scent. I think what's happening is they're putting different skin food in the shaving soap and different ingredients in the aftershave, and each one of those has its own effect on the overall fragrance. And so that's what's happening. It's never a deal breaker for me, to be honest. All right, let's try to keep the soap on the blade and not so much on my fingers. All right, here we go. Very nice. Do a quick turnaround. Try to get the tail end of the razor involved. All right. All right. Pretty good first pass. I'm not exactly sure how I keep getting soap all over my fingers, but it is what it is, I guess. Just got to make sure that I properly dry off the blade as best as I can after each shave. So I'm going to go ahead and, like Jack said, kind of close the blade the majority of the way, but not entirely, so that the moisture doesn't get in between the scales. And we'll get a little bit of moisture back on the face. So yeah, just a little thought I had while I had some downtime yesterday. I was kind of thinking about the how scents kind of have an initial application scent and then a dry down scent, and how that kind of differs with soaps. Because I kind of heard somebody give impressions of a soap's dry down, and I don't really think soaps have a dry down. I don't think the scent hangs around long enough for it to have a dry down. I think more so what's probably happening is like an initial soap scent off the tub, and then after it's been lathered scent. You know what I mean? Once warm water has been added to the mix and the fragrance was allowed to open up and really become more incorporated with heat and all that. Let's get some more of this nice cream on the face. This stuff smells great, in my opinion, if I haven't said that already. I quite like the spiciness of the cardamom. Cardamom in fragrances is a scent note that when I see it, it kind of pulls my attention in, because I quite like cardamom in fragrances. I like the bit of spiciness, like a baking spice, that it brings to the blend. So usually when I see cardamom, I really kind of start paying attention to the rest of the scent notes and try to imagine how the cardamom would play a part in that fragrance. I'm over here trying to lather my eyeballs. Alright, let's get some more liquid IV in. Raider Nation, motherfuckers. I know, we've sucked for so long. I've heard it all. I've heard it all. But at least we're now in Vegas, so that gives me a reason to go visit. Didn't have much of a reason in Oakland. Go ahead and turn this around. All right. The proficiency with my right hand is going quite well, in my opinion. Let me just get all this damn soap off my hands. I don't know, I don't know how that's happening. Maybe because my against the grain up here is different than my against the grain down here. But I seem to get a lot of soap on my hands somehow. Kind of where I hold the razor, I get a lot of soap in this area, and I'm not not really understanding how or why. I'm not necessarily getting a bad shave with my left hand. But it's definitely a lot more awkward than my right hand, you know? So we'll go ahead and rotate this. Sorry for going quiet there, guys, but gotta kind of focus, you know what I mean, with the left hand. and with the right hand for that matter, but just till I become more proficient anyways. Just gotta be careful. I kind of agree with what Jack said on one of his recent videos, because he's been using straights all week, and he was saying that he kind of gets his most comfortable shaves with straight razors, not necessarily his closest or best shaves, but most comfortable. And I gotta kind of agree with that, or at least I think that's what he said. That's what I took away from it. But I kind of agree with that sentiment, where it's like it's a really comfortable shave. My skin, you know, feels unscathed afterwards. There's like no irritation afterwards. It's just like a perfectly smooth, soft feeling. Now, I might not get BBS like I would with a DE. I just can't hit the same angles necessarily. Wow. That one there is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's BBS, but it's a high quality, damn fine shave, so I ain't bitching whatsoever. Like I said, to be honest, I have a full beard. If I really cared about BBS, it'd be a little bit ridiculous, because nobody's gonna know whether or not I have BBS or DFS, because I got a fucking beard to cover it, you know what I mean? So I still try to get BBS, but I'm kind of understanding that with straight razors, I'm not going to hit the same awkward angles that I can with a DE or an SE. So, at least I can't at this point. At least I can get a with the grain and against the grain pass that gets me a damn fine shave relatively easy. So, I ain't going to bitch about that at all. I'll probably do another sample Sunday video tomorrow. I haven't really picked out what I'll be using yet, but I'll figure something out. So, everything worked out pretty damn well today. Porch drinks, an awesome scent. Really happy that I finally got a hold of it. The luxury cream performed great. It's Catie's Bubbles. I really had no doubt that it was going to lather up and perform for me. Lancaster bowl. Lutin brush burned into the bottom. Nice little badger knot on top. It's a little bit more floppy than some of my other badgers and not quite as dense, but it always gets the job done for me, and it's really soft. So really, I'm not bitching, you know what I mean? It's not one that I intend on replacing the knot. My Kukri straight definitely did the job for me. I'm really enjoying this thing. Still seems to be holding that edge, so that's good. No signs of dulling quite yet. The star of the show, as always, this vintage Baskin Robbins, probably 6-month-old vintage, maybe 9-month vintage Baskin Robbins ice cream sample spoon. Definitely shows a little bit of wear, but it still works great. You could pick these up fairly easily at your local Baskin Robbins. So that always kicks my shave off, you know, in the right direction when I use that sample spoon to scoop out some soap into my bowl. That always starts my shave off perfect, you know what I mean? Every time. Performs great every time. Go ahead and shake up the aftershave here. Get some on the Nice restrictor. It was really really being stingy there for a second. All right. Little bit tacky. Kind of dried in real quick. All right. So, with this one, I would say the blood orange is kind of kicked up a little bit, but most citrus notes are kind of top notes. Even if you kind of use a lower percentage to kind of keep them in the body, they usually are perceivable right away. And they're usually the first ones to go as well, as far as longevity. But I would say the blood orange kind of enters the mix in the aftershave. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to give you dry down notes right now. But right off the bat, I would say in the aftershave, it's coffee, cardamom, and a little bit of blood orange. The blood orange enters the mix, and it's quite nice. Very enjoyable. So, that's the Dranks aftershave. So, that's it for me, guys. Looks like we got a good one. And very comfortable, very enjoyable scent, and all my shit worked out great. So, I'm probably going to hammer down another liquid IV to get this hydration back in order. And I'll see you guys tonight on Instagram and tomorrow on Sample Sunday. So, peace. Have a good weekend, fellas.